Welcome back, everyone, to week 3 of Coalition League's Spring Split, the halfway mark here as we go into game 1, which will be literally the last game of the first half of the round robin. And for tonight, we've got DoV Nightfall versus Vengeful Reapers, the new team on the block here. So this will be their inaugural game in the league. I am Random Minion Caster, and alongside me tonight will be Adderate Luna. How are you doing, Luna?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Good, good to hear that you're doing well too. So, we are looking at the picks and bans here. The pro draft has already been completed for this game here. It'll be the first time these teams will meet each other, but it won't be the last time for tonight, as game 2 will be the same matchup on different sides of the map. So on the blue side for game 1, we've got DoV Nightfall. On the red side, we have Vengeful Reapers. One thing to note here is that Vengeful Reapers has lost a couple of bans in this game here. They had some issues with their roster and will be losing 3 bans, one in the first phase, 2 in the second phase. So on the side of DoV Nightfall, they've banned out Kale, Oriana, Vayne, Annie, and Callista, while on the side of Vengeful Reapers, the 2 bans will be Senna and Swain in the first rotation. DoV Nightfall picking Thresh and Caitlyn for their bot lane, Jarvan in the jungle, Phantom X's patented Cho'Gath mid, and Lord of Aces Mordekaiser in the top lane. On the side of Vengeful Reapers here, there's been some issues with their pro draft, so that is not a Twitch. That's actually an Ashe. It looks like for the side of Vengeful Reapers. So that's an Ashe, Leona. That's not a Lissandra either. That one is a Lee Sin jungle. It looks like so. It will be Ashe, Leona, Lee Sin, and the Karma and Set are right. So Luna, looking at this confusing draft here, what are your thoughts on the pick and bans from both teams here?
Okay, so uh definitely respecting Vengeful Reaper's bands, especially the Swain band, since we've seen Hippo play extremely well with Swain. I'm not too familiar if Poison Lynch plays Sin a lot or not, but just to take it off the table is a good idea because if they left that open, they could go Fast and Senna with Swain farming. That just sounds horrifying to me. So I'm all for that. For DOV Nightfall's bans, it's interesting to see the Vayne and Callista bans. I think those are at Epic Gamer. Uh, and I'm also not sure how I feel about the Kale ban. It's definitely interesting. We'll have to see how it plays out. I like the Oriana and the Annie bans. Annie is a relatively safe champion to play, and Oriana, pardon me, she Oriana is just really strong. So she has a lot of team fight potential. She's a strong laner, so I can respect that ban. As far as comps go, DOV Nightfall's comp is really strong with Thresh, Caitlyn, Bot. Uh, and then they have 3 tanks. Essentially, they have 4 tanks and an ADC at this point. Cho'Gath might build a little bit more AP because I'm assuming that's Cho'Gath mid. Uh, but I mean, either way, it's mid. They get once they get to the mid game, it's going to be disgusting. Once they get to late game, if it goes that long, I'm terrified. I would not want to go against that team. And then for Reapers, you said that was Ash and Elise Sin. I don't know how I like Lee Sin with that comp. I like the Ash Leo bot lane. I think that plays well together. The Karma's kind of an interesting pick. Karma does have a lot of burst, but I don't know how well that's going to play with that team comp. And Set's also an interesting pick, but because Nightfall can get so tanky, that could be an issue for Caitlyn once Set ults. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
For sure, and the it looks like the teams have loaded here on to Summer's Rift, and we will be heading right on over as well. And as you said, on the side here of Vengeful Reapers, that Lee Sin pick is going to have some trouble later in the game. So it looks like they will be playing a more early game oriented composition. And I think it really shows here with the sort of lack of synergy on the side of Vengeful Reapers. A lot of their picks just looking like they're picking comfort picks or perhaps picks for lanes. And on the sides of DoV Nightfall, Phantom X does usually go that AP Cho'Gath in the mid lane, which will get inherently tanky anyways, but will, as you said, be an absolute nightmare toward the late game when they really start to ramp up. Mordekaiser being a strong late game champion, Caitlyn being another very strong late game champion here. So it's almost as if both teams have set themselves in a timer. I expect to see lots of action in the mid game here. Now for the start of the game, both teams taking a more passive 5-man start here, and it looks like Lord of Aces did have some issues connecting into the game. He is back in the game now. So not much loss. Vengeful Reapers kindly not invading on that. Jason getting some good Lee Sin Qs, landing on Gunth there, exerting his dominance early in the game, making sure they know who the better jungler is here. But both junglers will be looking to start at the bottom side of the map here, and we'll have to see where they both go. They're both very strong early ganking junglers, both get very strong ganks at level 2 here.
And something that I like about DoV's comp is J4 also hits a pretty decent power spike once they get into mid-game. So they can use J4 as a bridge into the late game comp. So it's I like that a lot. It shows a lot of game knowledge in their drafting phase.
Definitely, and if we look at the mid lane trades here, Karma versus Cho'Gath, not a matchup we see very often. A lot of times people will pick sort of safe lanes into that Cho'Gath and you don't want him to feast and get too fed. But at the same time, the sustain from Cho'Gath's passive there will make a lot of the poke that Karma is known for in the mid lane rather redundant. So we already see the poke being landed. But bot lane, Web Hippo, we talked about his Swain, but his Thresh looks just as deadly here. Beautiful Death Sentence almost takes Imagine's down. Imagine must burn everything to get out, but Web Hippo only burns the Ignite. Now Jason going to the top lane here, looking to get an early gank off at level 2, but Gunth also present, both junglers present there. Flashes being burned from Lord of Aces and Jason in the top. So one flash each on both sides, and now Epic Gamer trying to get the turn there, will get the pull, but Gunth will be able to flag and drag himself to safety there. Just the two summoners burn in the top lane. But
yeah, it's a very aggressive game so far.
Yeah, and it looks like Jason didn't quite want to give that one up. Was still hovering in the top lane, seems to get anything. Gunth was walking away, but had to turn it around to deal with that. Just a lot of aggression coming out of the junglers here, both of them wanting to get a piece of that top lane.
And Phantom having a little issue dealing with the Karma's early game. Because that is Cho's one weakness, is he has a really slow early game, whereas early game Karma is almost one of her strongest points in the game.
Yeah, those empowered Qs there, the inner flames do a lot of damage with the slow. A lot of times at level 1 without the boost, a lot of champions will get hit by both parts of it. But we do see Phantom X still choosing to stick around. Will hopefully be able to sustain that, but we'll have to see how he does with that. Phantom X has played the Cho'Gath before and has had a very good showing on it, so I think he's very comfortable and knows his limits there with that champion. One thing to notice that both mid laners did take the more combat-oriented Ignite, so neither of them will have the teleport to make up for it. And as we talk about that, the Ignite coming down from Fezzy Flash, the flash from Phantom X will not get into safety, and we will see Phantom X going down to the poke of Fezzy Fez.
Yeah, that tether from Karma not only is a very good snare and does decent damage, but I mean it's also a heal. So I mean you get the best of all worlds.
Yeah, best of both worlds indeed, as that is first blood solo going on to Fezzy Fez. Now on the top lane here we see Lord of Aces pulling out Epic Gamer a little bit. Epic Gamer will have to be careful, very, very low on health there. But seems like he will continue to stick around. Set having very high base regen stats. They have nerfed it somewhat, but still it's high enough that he can remain in lane. if they don't have a lot of poke against the set to dive behind the turret.
Right. He's essentially like a mini Garen, and it's super annoying.
Yep, yeah, and that's even without the healing passive there. That's just sheer base stats. And it used to be a popular build with Reju beads for set, which thankfully has somewhat fallen out of favor, where you just sustain for days with 2 or 3 Reju beads. Now Jason KB back in the bot lane. He's spending a lot of time looking for ganks here. He's about 2 or 3 camps behind Gunth, keeping up in levels thus far, but if he keeps spending time looking for these ganks and not finding them, Gunth will be able to get a significant lead on to Jason here. And Jason, as we mentioned, does have a timer. Leeson not known for his late game prowess, more of an early game champion there, whereas J4 very strong in the mid game. So it looks like to counteract that, Fez now roaming bot from mid alongside Jason KB. There's no vision there. DOV is not aware. A beautiful play to keep the Zenith Blade off, the flash Zenith Blade, but Fez flashing into Tether. Poison Lynch, can Poison Lynch get out? They take the Lantern now. Jason KB tanking up the turret here. Now Jade Delion tanking up the turret. Will go down to the turret. Poison Lynch picking up the kill on an attempted 4-man dive in the bot lane. Good play from DOV to even up the score 1-1.
Yeah, it was definitely very well played. Yeah, if their bot lane keeps it up, it's definitely going to be hard for Vengeful to be able to do anything there. Like, I mean, that was 4v2, and DOV's bot lane is just like, that's cool.
Yeah, and DOV's bot lane has a ton of pressure. It's almost double the CS on the side of Poison Lynch there compared to Imagine's. That's almost 1k gold lead. That's almost enough for a BF sword up against Imagine's here. And Wepipo has been doing a great job on his thresh so far. J-Delion not able to engage with Leona, flaying a lot of those death sentences they can't engage. And speaking of J-Delion, we see J-Delion here sitting, roaming mid, trying to get the revenge roam onto Phantom X there. Lots of movement and rotation on the side of Vengeful Reaper. Good early game action, but it looks like they might end up giving the Dragon over here. They don't have vision. They just got vision down, but Dragon's already down to half health. And all of DOV is in the area. The top laners have the teleport, and then we'll go over to DOV without contest. First Dragon, Ocean Drake to DOV.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting call. I feel like because Jason, he went and gave his blue buff over to Karma, so I feel like instead of doing that, they probably could have contested that dragon because they were all relatively healthy. So an interesting call.
Yeah, but with that, Jason ended up being low. And a beautiful stop off the back there. J-Delion Zenith blading into Poison to stop the back. But the death sentence ends up landing on Imagine's. Imagine's flashing up, but not enough. Will end up going down to Poison Lynch there. Now we see a flash coming out from Gunth as he gets the Cataclysm down on Jason. And Fez, Jason had to flash City, not level 6 yet. Now the teleport coming from Epic Gamer as he reaches there. He's trying to turn the tides. It's now a 3v2 as Gunth is extremely low, has to back out. Lord of Aces dragging Epic Gamer into the death realm, but will be enough? No, will not. The death realm wears off, and Jason KB will pick up the kill. Phantom X now at the tender mercies of Fez will go down in that separate 1v1 there. That's a 2-for-0 turn on Vengeful Reapers, and they're back in the driver's seat there with kills.
Yeah, that was definitely a very good teleport by Set. Epic Gamer did that very well.
With that, Lord of Aces will use his teleport to get back into lane, so they won't even have a teleport advantage there. And even though Vengeful Reapers is now up in kills, they are actually still down in gold by about 1,200, and part of that is from Dragon, but the bulk of that is mostly coming just from the bot lane here. 1.8 thousand gold difference in the ADCs, a 500 gold difference in the supports, making up for the mid lane where Phantom X is down about 1,000 gold from Fez here. So a lot of the advantage actually is just from superior laning more than anything else.
Yeah, because as we can see, Caitlyn is currently double Ash's farm. So there's a lot more gold in those minions that people really realize. I believe it's every 5 melee minions is equal to like 1 kill or something like that.
Probably somewhere around there, and a lot of the support also benefiting a lot in this case from the pressure. And he came back straight with an IE, and now a death sentence onto JDW. JDW will not be able to get out there. Traps all around him. Instantly goes down. That's 3-0 for the bot lane of DOB.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate. They're going to have to start playing a bit more carefully if they want to try to turn this around.
Yeah, Ashe and Leona bot lane, known to be one of the most aggressive engage-heavy bot lanes at level 6. But right now, they're so far behind, they won't want to engage this, even though they can. They're down a level and a half here on the side of Vengeful Reaper's bot lane, Imagines and JDL. And JDL not even level 6 yet. And we see how bad the poke is there for Imagines. As soon as JDL has to base, Imagine gets poked down almost to death. And the bot lane of DOV might be able to get the first turret before Imagines gets back. We'll have to see if the minion wave will be sufficient. They've already got it down to its last turret. Mid lane, we do see Jason KB looking like he's just taking the farm here. The minions, Fezzy Fez is returned, and Epic Gamer now near the mid lane as well. Are they going to look for a gank, or are they going to look for a herald? Everybody's in the area, but it looks like neither, as Epic Gamer opts to recall instead. He has some gold to spend there, but not a ton, only about 800 gold, and that will be enough to complete his boots, going with the Berserker Greaves for Set. Now, Luna, I'm not sure if that's a common boots build to go for Set here.
Not to my knowledge, but because of how awkward Set's autos are, being that the second hit comes out faster, I don't know. It's an interesting take. I'm curious because I'm assuming he's kind of Cutlass. I'm guessing he's going Blade of the Reaping first item.
That would be an unusual choice here. I mean, it would give him some sustain in lane and good damage on tanks, but Mordekaiser's tankiness is not necessarily based off of health, but a lot of just this innate sustain and the shield that he gets from his abilities there. So we'll have to see if this interesting choice of Berserker's Greaves will work out in the top lane there. And as we say that, Aces is back in lane. Epic Gamer going in for that trade, and looks like he's coming out pretty even in that trade there. Not sure if it's necessarily what he really wanted. And as he gets dragged into Death Realm here, looks like he's getting the better of the trade here. Does hit level 10, but it won't be enough. Lord of Aces will take him down to the extended 1v1 trade, and I guess that answers the question we had about whether or not those boots were working. I'm gonna go ahead and say no, it doesn't work here.
I don't know. Like, I feel like he missed too many of his haymakers. If he hit those, I feel like it actually might have made a difference.
But in the mid lane here, the mid-jungle duo of DOB Nightfall is going to go down to Vengeful Reaper's mid lane and jungle synergy. Jason KB picking up the kill, but can he get away? The Ignite comes down from Phantom X, and it will be enough to take down Jason KB. So they end up trading the junglers here and their respective flashes. And while that was happening, bot lane once again, Imagine's going down. Looks like he had some sort of disconnect for a second there, ends up getting hooked and just completely eliminated by Poison Lynch and Web Hippo.
It's definitely unfortunate that there's a minor connection issue.
Yeah, Vengeful Reaper's already having enough trouble without having those connection issues. First turret will go down to the side of DOV. The bot lane finally taking down that outer bot lane turret. So they are also up another drag now. They have two drags, Inferno and Ocean, both very strong drakes here in the early game. Now, JDW just trying to get to the mid lane. Will flash to try and get to safety. Web Hippo flashing after trying to land the death sentence. Just misses by a pixel there. JDW will be able to safely get up, but will not be able to defend that mid turret as the bot lane of DOV has rotated to try and claim that mid lane turret as well. Web Hippo taking a ton of poke, will have to back off to safety, but it will be enough for DOV to take that mid lane turret. And while that was happening, Lord of Aces, Gunth picking up the Herald as well. They're getting all the neutral objectives on the map here.
Yeah, it's definitely a good rotation by DOV so far.
DOV making use of Poison Lynch's lead very well, rotating him all over the place. Now Phantom X gonna get caught out here. A beautiful initiate. That's the Leona Ash combination we were talking about. Solar Flare into Enchanted Crystal Arrow will see Phantom X go down, and Poison Lynch getting caught out. Jason KB manages to hunt and shut down Caitlyn, picking up a 650 bounty there. That's a huge bounty. Now Gun possibly about to go down as well. Gun stood around to drop the Herald, but in the end ends up getting tagged by the Lee Sin Q. A good death realm from Lord of Aces will keep him alive, but the rest of Vengeful Reapers has shown up. The Haymaker connecting, landing the exhaust now, and Jason KB will pick him up with a well-placed Lee Sin Q. Lord of Aces having to be careful here. It's a 5v1. They can easily dive this turret, or 5v2, sorry, as Web Hippo now shows up, but Web Hippo alone won't be enough. Fezzy Fez taking some damage, but does manage to get out. Jdelian diving in now to try and get it, and they do pick up Lord of Aces with some good turret aggro juggling there, and it will end up being a 3-for-1, 3-for-0 in the top lane there on the side of Vengeful Reapers. Oh, but a death sentence from Web Hippo manages to connect on Epic Gamers on the way out. A good heal will keep him alive. But he will still go down to Ignite and the Terror combined. DOV loses both their bot laners here. Web Hippo and Poison Lynch trying to stall that turret, feeding another 2 kills over the side of Vengeful Reaper, as well as Vengeful Reaper's first turret of the game.
Now that was impressive. Like, that is exactly what they need to keep doing to get back into this game. Out of nowhere, they swung the kill count to their favor. They're now 3 kills up. And they're still behind in gold at 2K, but that's definitely a lot better than what they were looking at.
Definitely, they've managed to stop that gap from widening further at this point, and they did manage to get some really nice bounties off of Caitlyn, but the problem is the bounty went over to Jason KB. Jason KB carrying quite a bit of gold for his team here, second highest on his team. I'm not sure that's where they want it, considering that we're starting to enter the mid-game phase now. Turrets have gone down, all 3 outer turrets on the side of Vengeful Reapers here. Lee Sin carrying the gold will get some damage there, but will he be enough to hold them through the mid-game? And not to mention DOV also scales very well. We'll have to see how this works out. Nyx Dragon is mounted, will be up in about 30 seconds, and it looks like DOV setting up a death bush here. Jdelian just walking in, walks right past the rupture there, but the death sentence from Web Hippo landing. Now Phantom X, the one looking like he's been caught out a little bit there. Will he feast? No, he's looking to walk away, but that might be a mistake. A volley will doing the damage, but it will be Fezzy Fez taking him down here. Now Web Hippo going down. Poison Lynch turning the corner into 5 from Vengeful Reapers. Vengeful Reapers making a great comeback here. Almost fully closed the gold lead gap, 13-7, and they will be able to take the Mountain Drake for free here.
Yeah, that was a really well-placed Enchanted Crystal Arrow by Imagines. Like, the timing on that was impeccable. Like, it's relatively difficult to hit a decent Astral from far away. So that was rather impressive.
Yeah, and again, the good combination between Jdelian's Leona with the Imagine's Ash. They're getting really good chaining of their ultimates there for extended CC. And Vengeful Reapers, this is their first game in the Coalition League. I have to say, they are looking like a really good, scrappy team here. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say they're top of the table just yet, but certainly putting up a very good fight against third place DOV here.
Oh, for sure. Like, just a couple of minutes ago, they were down, well over 2K gold. Then they shortened that to 2K, and now it's even. It's neck and neck. It's like this is a crazy good game.
Yeah, and that dragon tick they just took for the Mountain Drake is massive for them. It not only gives them additional armor and magic resist, but it will also delay DOV going for that Dragon Soul. And you don't ever want to see a Cho'Gath stacking Mountain Drake. Even if they're going AP, that's still a disgusting sight, and no one wants to see that. So Vengeful Reapers buys himself a little bit of time with that, getting some armor on their tanks as well.
And if I'm Nightfall, I definitely don't want to see a set or a Leona with 4 stacked Mountain Drakes. That sounds like a horrible time to me.
For sure. Set already gets that ginormous shield when he's throwing his haymakers there, so Imagine that with additional resistances. It's just a bad time here.
That and the tankiness is what Leona definitely needs right now, because in the early game that was her issue. She was just getting out poked. She couldn't get in, or when she tried to go in, because of how skilled Web Hippo is on his Thresh, being able to play her when she goes in with Zenith Blade. It's definitely been a rough game for Leona. But if how's that? JD, I'm just gonna say Leona.
Sure, yeah.
Sorry, dude. But if Leona can manage to keep getting tankier and stay in the fights, then the rest of her team is going to benefit greatly.
Definitely. It looks like DoV is now falling back on what had done them so well before, going back to laning. They were just trying to catch all the CS there, trying to get Poison Lynch up again after Poison Lynch had fallen a little bit. But the CS numbers on the side of Poison Lynch there is still the highest in the game at this point at 180 CS. Imagines having issues trying to match the CS there despite having a lane. But Gun flashing in, gets the Cataclysm on Jadelian and Fezzy Fez. They will force the flash out of both those summoners there with just one Cataclysm. Good trade. 1 for 2 flashes there.
That was definitely a lot of respect there to be like, yeah, we're just going to flash out of this. We're not even going to risk it.
And with that, they will have lost pressure in the mid lane as both Jadelion and Fezzy Fez had to go back to base to heal back up. Epic Gamer doesn't have his teleport up, but is going to split push the bot lane there, continue pushing that out. Interesting choice from DoV to send Phantom X to try and match that split. Phantom X not carrying teleport. Baron is up on the table here. Lord of Aces continuing his split push in the top lane while they leave the bot lane duo of Poison Lynch and Web Hippo in the mid lane. They are getting surrounded here. They have to be careful. They don't quite have the vision. And with the engage from the beautiful Enchanted Crystal Arrow, pull up the Solar Flare. Poison Lynch will instantly go down. Wasn't able to do anything. The heal not doing much to keep him alive there. Now Web Hippo throwing out Death Sentence. A beautiful body block from Jason as he tanks those turret shots for Fezzy Fez. Fezzy Fez trying to get a little aggressive. Will eat another 2 turret shots that he didn't need to take. And now it's Vengeful Reapers on the engage here for that turret.
Yeah, they're definitely trying. This is one of the closest games that I think we've seen so far in the league. Like, it was, at first it seemed like it was going to be one-sided, and now it's just like, it is so neck and neck. This is very impressive.
For sure, and DoV will not go fighting into the night, even as they lose that fight in the mid lane. Lord of Aces evening that trade with a tier 2 top lane turret, tier 2 top side lane for a tier 1 mid lane. I would personally think the tier 2 is worth more, and now they're on to the Mountain Drake here. Vengeful Reapers looking to pick up their second Drake of the game. Mountain Drake can gun steal. No, he cannot. It will go over to Vengeful Reapers there. So that's 2 Drakes apiece here in this game.
Yeah, DoV, they definitely need to figure out what to do, because giving over those Mountain Drakes it's like I was saying, it's going to make this a much harder game for them to win.
And honestly, I'm a little surprised with DoV's performance in this game. They are currently sitting 3rd in the standings, coming off an undefeated run in week 2 here. They had shown a very solid grasp of the mid game last week, grouping up very appropriately and knowing how to macro, whereas this game we see them getting caught out repeatedly here. Part of it being some very good Enchanted Crystal Arrows from Imagines, but part of it's just people being isolated on their own without sufficient vision on the side of DoV Nightfall. As we say that Death Sentence coming up with Web Hippo will land onto Fezzy Fez chain with a beautiful trap, but the poke from Karma, the inner flame, just forcing Poison Lynch back. Poison Lynch still getting hit by yet another arrow, but just the edge this time will not be stunned. Just slow bot lane. We've got the 2 top laners going at it. A flash from Lord of Aces to keep him alive. It looks like Epic Gamer with that Bramble Vest is now starting to, and a bit more levels under his belt, starting to come back and able to 1v1 Lord of Aces now on the side lane.
And it definitely was a Blade of the Rune King, which it seems like it's helping him out a lot more than we anticipated, because he came out of that fight relatively healthy.
For sure. I personally have had some questions about the current meta of the game in the top lane, where a lot of aggressive top lanes, but even as you say that, now Phantom X getting caught out once again, a teleport from Epic Gamer, probably unnecessary. They didn't even need to use the Enchanted Crystal Arrow this time. Phantom X was just too far out, got wrapped around by Jadelion there and just completely bursted down, and now Vengeful Reapers will have access to the Baron 5v4 here.
Yeah, at first I was kind of questioning the teleport as well, but since they all immediately ran to Baron, I can see why they made that option, and I like it. I think it's an okay call.
Yeah, and Lord of Aces on the side of DoV Nightfall, matching that teleport. As soon as he saw the teleport go down, as soon as he saw that fight go south, he instantly teleported to the bot lane as well. Gunth now going in, trying to stop the Baron. They will pick out Jason KB, who tries to dive the backline and pick up Poison Lynch. They trade junglers here as both dive the backlines, which is a win for DoV Nightfall as they managed to stop the Baron take. But not only that, Lord of Aces also picking up the tier 2 bot lane turret. He's been doing a great job here with the split pushing. We were just saying right before Gunth decided to dive in there. As soon as the teleport from Epic Gamer came out, the teleport from Lord of Aces now. Oh, Epic Gamer stepped out a little too far, and we see the Cho'Gath feast from Phantom X instantly just wiping him out. Now Fezzy Fez caught in a bad situation. Can he get away? Yes, he can, and he can pick up a kill on the backside of it. Inner Flame, the fire just stays there and picks up Poison Lynch, not respecting the circle of death left on the ground. And now Jadelion caught in a really awkward position. He does have his flash, but looks like he's still wanting to just walk out, not wanting to have to flash safety. He has to be careful. Will eventually have to burn the flash to get out from Phantom X and Web Hippo there. So all in all, a bit of a drawn-out fight. Baron will be stopped from both teams here, and both Epic Gamer and Poison Lynch should come back up around the same time, so both teams will have all 5 in a couple of seconds here.
And while the Ash Arrow, it almost was able to I believe it was Epic Gamer that went down. It almost was able to save him, but although it wasn't, I do want to point out that that was a cross-map arrow. Ash was in base when she hit that arrow.
Yeah, Imagine's definitely living up to the marksman name there, sniping from across the map. He's landed most of those Enchanted Crystal arrows very well thus far in the game, and it's been definitely keeping his team in the game despite his low farm and his not necessarily being there for all the team fights, 9 out of 17. But unfortunately, he gets hooked by a death sentence here, a flash. But will the flash beat up? No, it will not. Cho'Gath will still be able to pop him down. The feast, it wasn't even used there, it was just straight damage. The feast instead will be used on Fezzy Fez, who will pop instantly. Now we see Epic Gamer there going in solo. Jadelion trying to pincer from the other side, but 2 tanks, no damage, equals dead on all sides. Only Jason KB left alive on the side of Vengeful Reapers. They were having such a good run there, coming back from an early deficit, and you know, they were really taking possession of the game, but all of a sudden, one bad fight, and now Jason KB, the pressure is on for him to try and make this steal. Looks like he won't even try. He's just gonna back off here. Has no confidence, has no vision, more importantly, and Baron will go over to DoV Nightfall.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a good call to just forego the steal and just let them have the Baron. I mean, they were equal levels at the time, so it is possible that he could have made the steal. But, I mean, without the rest of his team up, there's just no point.
Definitely, and now DoV has just rotated straight to that Mountain Drake here. Jason in the wing, seeing if he can get a steal. It will be a bit of a tall task here with this feast from Cho'Gath available, and he'll just take it at 1,000. Jason not having a chance to try and take that Drake there, and all of a sudden the game has swung back in favor of DoV Nightfall, who's up 5,000 gold, Baron buff, and at soul point.
Yeah, the only way that he would have been able to get that steal, I feel, is if Phantom X wasn't there, and he would have to be able to kick J4 out of the pit before J4 used Smite. So yeah.
Yeah, ripping a tall ask here, and Epic Gamer now deep inside the enemy's jungle. Potentially, they didn't even get a ward down. Not quite sure what he was doing all the way in there. But now he's getting that 1v1 against Lord of Aces. Misses the haymaker. A good grab from Lord of Aces will pull him out. Dragged to the death realm and instantly popped down there. So that's 1-0. Epic Gamer venturing too deep with no backup.
Yeah, that's definitely unfortunate. Yeah, I don't know why he was that far up without ward, because he has
Oh, and now
foresight.
Web Hippo here walking right up to Jadelian. Will do a point blank death sentence, but it decides to just let Jadelian go. There is a siege now. We've got a 4v4 in the mid lane, but there is Baron buff inside of DoV. They will be able to wait for the siege minions to just simply take down that tier 2 mid lane turret. And Caitlyn's range now here proving to be a huge advantage as she can just safely pew at the turret with very little risk. Lord of Aces in the top lane, shoving in two cannon minions, burned up cannon minions here into the top lane. On the side of Vengeful Reapers, there's nothing they can really do. They seem to be waffling around, and Lord of Aces will be able to get the first inhib turret off the game here.
Yeah, they definitely have a very strong 4-1 right now, and it's looking like it could be game potential. I don't know. This is it's looking very rough.
Yeah, that's the mid lane inhibitor turret and inhibitor down. Now DoV looking to go to the top lane here. Web Hippo landing a death sentence, the flay on top of the rupture. But will they be able to, Fez will be able to get out alive? Instead it'll be Jadelion caught out and possibly going down. Epic Gamer going down first off the side there to Lord of Aces, who didn't even have to death realm him. Jadelion will be picked up, and now they're on to Imagines. Imagines has been death realm, dodges the grab there, but will still go down to just auto attacks. A boink from Mordekaiser. Lord of Aces will take him down. That's 2 inhibs down. 5 versus 2 here. 3 down on the side of Vengeful Reapers. They're gonna knock right onto those Nexus turrets. Baron has worn out here, and Jason KB, a daring Lee Sin Q to pick up Lord of Aces on the back end there, but will it be enough? No, will not. Death timers are still taking 10 seconds for Jadelian, 13 for Epic Gamer, 20 for Imagines. It's still a 4v2. Fez picking up guns on the back line here, but a huge burst of damage on the trap for KB. On Jason, we'll see Jason KB going down now. Poison Lynch free firing on the Nexus. They can't quite stop her. Epic Gamer gets to pull her out, but it'll be Phantom X landing the last auto on the Nexus. 18-19. Extremely close game here. Victory goes to DoV Nightfall.
That was very well played. Like that was, again, that was one of the closest games I think that we've seen all season so far. It was just the one fight that let DoV get Baron buff that really clutched it for him, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a huge swinging game. We saw DoV with the lead at first, Vengeful Reaper coming back with some really great mid-game plays, and then DoV just, that one fight you mentioned, turned the game. They get Baron, they get Dragon, and all of a sudden they're into the base of Vengeful Reapers. You know, and even at the end there, that was very desperate defense on the side of Vengeful Reapers. They almost pulled it off. And I've got good news for you, Luna, because this is game 1 of 2 games. We will be right back to watch game 2 of Vengeful Reapers versus DoV Nightfall. So we will be able to see if Vengeful Reapers manages to pull themselves back into the game here. They will be switching sides, and Vengeful Reapers will be on the blue side this time, DoV being on the red side, and Vengeful Reapers will have all their bans available to them. So perhaps that will be enough to tip the scales in their favor. So we'll take a short intermission here, and we'll see you guys soon.